These are the 3 smallest cars that you'll ever see, and I bet you've never.
جديد جلو أون لوفلي هايدرا جلو بتركيبة خفيفة كالماء والسيرم الورد يحافظ على ترطيب البشرة طوال اليوم لتحصلي على بشرة أكثر إشراقاً وترطيباً. بشرة مرطبة يعني بشرة مشرقة. إشراقة الصباح لا تخليها تختفي.
Hey YouTube, what's going on? This is iTalk, back again with another item shop video. Today is March 21st, 2025. Hopefully you guys are having yourselves a wonderful Friday today. Friday. Dragon Ball is back in the shop. Yes, they brought back the Nim. Both the jam tracks coincide with the emote. You have the 2 emotes. So it's only 300 for me. We're getting more rock in the game. They said some stuff on. Hope they don't, but and then you have the dunk on. That wasn't though. I'm so they gave him a second one. That's Sprout up. Huge congrats. At the same time, it's like so proud of him. I can't. That's so full bundle is tomorrow, by the way. Very cool. Drool 1K wheels are very cool. And yeah, that'll be out tomorrow. These are new. Apparently Hot Rock Trail and Hydro. I didn't notice it, but they're limiting how many jam tracks are in the shop now. It's no longer all of them. Now it's only
Seven secret signs.
Tecno has once again made foldable phones more accessible without compromising on premium quality. This is the Phantom V Flip 2. It's all about elegance and functionality. Tecno has replaced last year's round cover display with a sleek square design. It's compact, pocket-friendly, and now with a modern touch.
لمقاومة البقع الداكنة المستمرة غارنيer فاست برايت.
بقع داكنة أقل أسرع بمرتين.
الطعم الأصلي مع عافية ذرة. عيشها بقلبك، عيشها بعافية.
What up guys, Mikhail here from Yugatech, and techno continues to raise the bar, or should I say, lower the barrier to entry for bendable display smartphones. They really shook up the segment with last year's Techno Phantom V Fold and V Flip. Out of the two, I really like the way the V Flip looked in Jose's coverage, which you all can see here for reference. In my opinion, it really set itself apart with that round cover display with the cute pets wandering around. The best part? It was a lot more affordable compared to its competition with an official price tag of 29,999 pesos. And it's pretty much the same story with this year's Techno Phantom V Flip 2, combining elegance, power, and functionality in a foldable device. With a starting price of 39,999 pesos, it's an easier pill to swallow if you weren't too sure about going all in with the bendy displays, but just wanted to try it out without having to borrow one. With that said, let's see if this thing is worth it. All right, so I'm sure the #1 reason anyone wants a flip phone is to be able to do that. So this is the Techno Phantom V Flip 2, and the cover display is no longer round. In fact, it's pretty much a square now. We still get this cute husky here to greet us though, so that's cool. Like most foldables nowadays, Techno incorporates the ones that leave no room for a gap when it's closed, as you can see. They claim to put it through rigorous testing at both low and high temperatures and boast we shouldn't have anything to worry about for up to 40,000 folds. The cover screen gets a layer of Gorilla Glass 8 protection on top, while the more frosted matte glass rear panel gets Gorilla Glass 8 protection. So, you know what that means. No monkey business here. For buttons and ports, let's do this folded. The power button that doubles as a side-mounted fingerprint scanner along with its volume rocker is situated at the right side. At the bottom, we get some Dolby Atmos branding and a noise-canceling mic with the first layer, followed by a dual nano SIM card tray, primary microphone, USB Type-C port, and 1 out of 2 stereo speakers with the bottom layer, which is the actual bottom because the first layer is the top. The partner speaker to this stereo one here that's bottom firing also doubles as the call earpiece next to a nice stealthy selfie flash. Weighing in at only 196 grams and measuring 7.64 millimeters thin when unfolded, it's pretty much a tall smartphone. It's about 16 millimeters thick when folded, making it truly pocket-friendly. Available in Moondust Gray, like we have here, and Travertine Green. We can say both designs look very chic and should appeal to almost everyone. I actually don't want the front display's bezels to get any thinner because it would make flipping the phone open a lot more difficult. I'd also prefer lower side buttons on the right, but what can we do? There's a hinge. And just like last year, we don't get any IP certification with the Techno Phantom V Flip 2. But I'd also think you were crazy for wanting to dunk any current gen foldable device in water. Overall, for design and construction, you see that doggy? I like it. I mean, most foldables look pretty much the same nowadays, if you ask me. And I'm sure Techno will be shrinking that covered display forehead bezel in the next iteration. The tall dimensions when unfolded may not be for everyone, but should be ideal for users who love to watch widescreen content. Speaking of display, the cover screen is a
حمل تطبيق أمازون
وابدأ التسوق وين ما كنت.
Over
Over the years, flip and foldable smartphones have become a lot more popular. The first few models are undoubtedly expensive. I mean, they were made by some of the biggest names in the market after all, Samsung. But recently, other brands have joined the flip and foldable market, and as a result, they're now a lot more affordable. Today, we're going to be looking at two of the newest and most affordable flip phones on the market, the Tecno Phantom V Flip 2 and the Infinix Zero Flip. Tecno already made waves last year by offering one of the most affordable Zero Flip. And again, if you're wondering why I don't have the units, well, ask Earl. He has the units. Anyway, comparison video between the Tecno Phantom V Flip 2 and the Infinix Zero Flip. And again, if you're wondering why I don't have the units, well, ask Earl. He has the units. Anyway, let's get the show started. So roll that OBB. Let's start off with the design of the phones. Both the Tecno Phantom V Flip 2 and the Infinix Zero Flip look strikingly similar. If you look at the cover screen alone, it's actually hard to tell one from the other. On this cover screen, both phones feature a dual main camera with a slim LED flash on the lower right side. Even the design of the flash is eerily similar. The screen size is similar too, taking up most of the upper half of the clamshell. But it's even more interesting that both phones have similar dimensions and weight. They're both 7.64mm thin when unfolded and 16.04mm thin when folded. As for the weight, they're similar too, with the Infinix weighing 195 grams while the Tecno weighs 196 grams. That 1 gram difference is something you wouldn't notice anymore, by the way. The button layout and others are quite similar too. As for the frame, they're both made out of aluminum. Perhaps the biggest telltale sign to distinguish these two phones would be the back cover or the lower half of the phone, and the design on the hinge as well. The hinge on the Infinix Zero Flip has a bit more style to it, with the fake screw design sandwiching the Infinix logo. As for the Phantom V Flip 2, you have a more minimalist Phantom logo alone at the center. Given how similar both phones are, it makes me wonder if one copied the other. But what do you think? There's no mention of IP ratings also for either of these phones, but
لمقاومة البقع الداكنة المستمرة، جديد جارنيه فاست برايت.
But what do you think? There's no mention of IP ratings also for either of these phones, but given that they are so similar in terms of design and construction, I'll have to say it is a tie for both the Infinix Zero Flip and the Phantom V Flip 2. But it's not just the design and styling of the phones that are similar. The displays are almost identical on paper too. Both the Tecno Phantom V Flip 2 and the Infinix Zero Flip feature a 3.64-inch AMOLED panel with the same 1056 by 1066 resolution. Infinix says their cover screen features 120Hz refresh rate and even 1100 nits of peak brightness, but there's no mention on the Tecno. Based on our experience and review, which TY did, which you can watch here, the cover screen of the Phantom V Flip 2 is very smooth too, and it can get really bright as well. The main difference between the cover screen is the level of protection. On the Infinix Zero Flip, the cover screen is protected by Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2, while the Phantom V Flip 2 only comes with standard Corning Gorilla Glass, at least that's what they say on their website. As for the main display, well, it's a similar story. Both phones feature a large 6.9-inch foldable LTPO AMOLED display with a 120Hz refresh rate. Again, Tecno is leaving out details regarding how bright the main display is, but Infinix says theirs can reach a maximum of 1400 nits. The borders on both phones are slim and are great for watching videos or even playing games. As for the crease, well, it's quite noticeable on both phones. However, I wouldn't say that the crease on one phone is more noticeable than the other, since they're very much equal. Whichever phone you pick, you will definitely enjoy watching videos on the nice main display, especially with the beautiful LTPO OLED panel. The crease isn't that noticeable, especially when the phone is directly in front of you. However, Even with the nice viewing angles, the display can be somewhat a bit distorted when you view the phone from the sides because of the crease. As for the speakers, both phones do have higher support, but interestingly, the Infinix is tuned by JBL, while the Tecno has Dolby Atmos. Despite having different tuning, the Zero Flip doesn't seem to have the advantage over the Phantom V Flip 2 or vice versa. They sound equally decent, and more importantly, they are loud, which does help with your viewing experience and, more importantly, gaming experience. Again, with how similar the two phones are, it's another tie this round. Will it be like this for the rest of the compare? Well, let's find out with the cameras of both of these phones. On paper, the cameras of the two phones are identical too. The Tecno Phantom V Flip 2 and the Infinix Zero Flip both feature dual 50-megapixel rear shooters, a 50-megapixel wide and a 50-megapixel ultra-wide. As for videos, both phones can record up to a maximum of 4K at 30 FPS. The main difference between the two phones is the front camera, or should I say selfie camera, located on the main screen. The one in the Infinix is a 50-megapixel shooter, while the Tecno only has a 32-megapixel shooter. So it's in selfies where we should see a big difference. But when you're using the main camera, it should be more or less the same, right? Well, that's not exactly the case. The Phantom V Flip 2 appears to have the advantage here in terms of output in both photo and video. The images come out sharp and there's really good contrast too. As for the colors, they're not too saturated either, and they come out looking a bit more natural. If you're not too picky, you can immediately upload these to social media without the need to edit them any further. While the Infinix Zero Flip does take decent images, the quality doesn't seem to be as great as the one captured by the Phantom V Flip 2. There's a lot more noticeable grain, especially in low light, and the subject isn't as sharp either. But what it does have is a lot more contrast, giving it a more moody feel and helping to hide the imperfections of the photos. Still, the difference in quality of the photo is very noticeable. As for the video, it's a similar story too. The videos taken by the Infinix Zero Flip becomes very choppy since we recorded all of these videos in camcorder mode. I mean, that is one of the coolest ways to shoot video with a flip phone after all. At first, we thought it was only during the recording, but it seems to have carried over to the actual recording, which you're going to see here. In comparison, the Tecno Phantom V Flip 2 did not have any issues whatsoever capturing video in camcorder mode. In terms of quality, it's similar to what you would find in the images. With that, it's safe to say that the Tecno Phantom V Flip 2 captures images and videos better than the Infinix Zero Flip, taking its first points in this comparison. Now, after seeing the results of the camera segment, we can say that having the same specs on paper doesn't necessarily mean similar results. And it's a similar story to the performance of both of these phones. In terms of hardware, both the Tecno Phantom V Flip 2 and the Infinix Zero Flip are powered by the same MediaTek Dimensity 8020 chipset. Both phones come with 8GB of RAM and 8GB of expandable RAM for a total of 16GB. As for storage, our review units of the Infinix came with 512GB, while the Tecno only has 256GB. No micro SD slot here either to expand storage further. So since they have the same chipset, you can expect identical benchmark scores, right? Well, it's similar, but one phone did have a slight advantage over the other depending on the benchmarks. On Antutu, the Infinix Zero Flip scored higher with almost 800,000 points, while the Phantom V Flip 2 only scored around 765,000. It's a similar story when you check the Geekbench results. Interestingly though, the Phantom V Flip 2 does have higher scores and FPS in 3D Mark Wildlife and even PC Mark Work 3.0 performance. They are very evenly matched, but one phone does perform in some aspects better than the other. Now, the difference is not that big, but it does show that despite having the same chipset and RAM, there will still be differences in performance. However, at the end of the day, that's just all on paper and the numbers. In real life, the difference is barely noticeable. Both phones can play almost any game you throw at it, including heavy graphic-intensive titles without any issues whatsoever. These two phones can run Genshin and Honkai Star Rail even on the highest setting, but you will experience the occasional lag and frame rate drops. So we recommend setting it to medium about the battery. And just as you guessed, both phones are the same here as well. The Infinix Zero Flip and the Tecno Phantom V Flip both battery test. In comparison, the Infinix Zero Flip only scored 10 hours and 8 minutes in the same test. That's almost a 3-hour difference in battery life. Considering their flip phone, Infinix competitive.
200 ريال سعودي وأعطني صندوق الأدوات هذا.
200 ريال سعودي؟ هل تريد جميع
Zero. Okay. Anyway, now let's talk about other features too. For this compare, we have to talk about the OS, of course, and both phones run on Android 14 out of the box. The Tecno Phantom V Flip 2 is skinned with iOS 14.5, while the Infinix Zero Flip is skinned with XOS. Thankfully, both of these phones don't have a lot of bloatware out of the box at a 90-degree angle, and I'm sure both of these phones only real-world use. One, to talk about the price, which is something that might sway buyers. Two, the Infinix 512GB variant. In comparison, the Tecno Phantom V Flip 2 starts at 34,000. Affordable model is the Infinix Zero Flip, which retails at 29,999 pesos for the 8 plus 512GB variant. In comparison, the Tecno Phantom V Flip 2 starts at 34,999 pesos for the 8 plus 256GB. The 8 plus 512GB variant. In comparison, the Tecno Phantom V Flip 2 starts at 34,999 pesos for the 8 plus 256. The 8 plus 512GB variant. In comparison, the Tecno Phantom V Flip 2 starts at 34,999 pesos for the 8 plus 256GB variant. That's a 5,000 peso difference for what is essentially the same phone, and you also get bigger storage on the Zero Flip. With that, I'm sure some of you might be more interested in the Infinix Zero's Flip, especially if you're on a budget. I mean, it is hard to find another flip phone for under 30,000 pesos. But if you want the better user feel and camera, along with a longer battery life, there's no doubt the Phantom V Flip 2 should be your choice. But what do you think of these two phones? For this comparison video, are you team Infinix? That I'm sure relevant. But in terms of talk about the 8 plus 512GB variant, in comparison, the affordable model is the Infinix Zero Flip, which retails at 29,999 pesos for the 8 plus 512GB variant. In comparison, the Tecno Phantom V Flip 2 starts at 34,999 pesos for the 8 plus 256GB variant. That's a 5,000 peso difference for what is essentially the same phone, and you also get bigger storage on the Zero Flip. With that, I'm sure some of you might be more interested in the Infinix Zero's Flip, especially if you're on a budget. I mean, it is hard to find another flip phone for under 30,000 pesos. But if you want the better user feel and camera, along with a longer battery life, there's no doubt the Phantom V Flip 2 should be your choice. But what do you think of these two phones? For this comparison video, are you team Infinix or are you team Tecno? Whatever the case, share your thoughts in the comments down below. And of course, if you found this video informative or enjoyed it at the very least, please do drop a like and subscribe.
At hindi rin nagpatalo ang Tecno. Maglalabas din sila ng
GoPro. And we're gonna test that in a minute, but the first thing that caught my eye was this 108 megapixel camera on the back and the 50 megapixel ultra wide. And I'm curious to see how these photos compare to the iPhone 16, which is $500 more expensive than this smartphone. This also comes with a 5,000 milliamp hour battery and 140 hertz curved AMOLED display. It also has a MediaTek Dimensity 8200 Ultimate 5G chipset. So far, I am super impressed with this phone, but what is this whole GoPro feature about? Well, the phone has some really good stabilizations like GoPros are known for, and it also connects to the phone way faster than my iPhone. So not too many GoPro features, but what do you think of this 4K selfie camera? Did GoPro just make a smartphone? So this is actually made by a company called Infinix, but on the box it literally says GoPro. And we're gonna test that in a minute, but the first thing that caught my eye was this 108 megapixel camera on the back and the 50 megapixel ultra wide. And I'm curious to see how these photos compare to the iPhone 16, which is $500 more expensive than this smartphone. This also comes with a 5,000 milliamp hour battery and 140 hertz curved AMOLED display. It also has a MediaTek Dimensity 8200 Ultimate 5G chipset. So far, I am super impressed with this phone, but what is this whole GoPro feature about? Well, the phone has some really good stabilizations like GoPros are known for, and it also connects to the phone way faster than my iPhone. So not too many GoPro features, but what do you think of this 4K selfie camera? Did GoPro
في رمضان يجمعنا الفطور، وريحة القهوة والبخور تملى المكان، ولما تكون حلوة على أثاث الركاب، مفروشات الركاب معاكم في كل لمة.
أبي أروح البقال أصد ولا لي خلق، قلت ما له إلا نينجا. عروضات تصل إلى 50%، وعندهم أكثر من 20,000 منتج متنوع، وعندهم تابي والطلب يصلك خلال 30 دقيقة. أول طلب توصيل لك مجانا.
نايس، حبيت. أكيد سيارة نواف، والله مميزة.
جرب.
بروم بروم.